What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. In today's video, we're here with some more Treasure Map Stussy coverage, and in today's video, we're going through my own personal teams up against the brand new treasure map. So I've already done my treasure map pulls. If you guys haven't seen them yet, go ahead and check out the video if you haven't done so already. And also, if you guys are looking for more accessible options, more free-to-play, more budget-friendly options, go check out my treasure map preparation video, which covers full free-to-play teams versus every single one of these boss fights. So go ahead and check that out if you guys want a little bit more inspiration. In this video, we'll be covering my own personal teams, and they may change as the treasure map progresses, but currently, these are the ones that I built on stream after I did my treasure map pulls, so hopefully give you guys a little bit more inspiration in terms of some other options that you may want to try and aim for when building teams in this treasure map. So the first of these boss fights here is going to be against Makino, which is the first of the battle rush bosses. We're going to go through the battle rushes first, we'll go for the final boss, and then the intrusion battle boss. So for this fight here, we're aiming to build just speed teams, and that's what I'm doing with all of my fights aside from Vivi and the Stussy fights. All of these teams are built around clearing the content as fast as possible. Now, moving into January, Global should be receiving an update to Treasure Map, which actually alters the way that Treasure Map is played in terms of the fact that instead of having 5 stages per boss fight, each boss fight is only 3 stages instead, which means that speed farming teams aren't going to be as required to get through content as quickly, right? Because it's only a couple of stages that you have to worry about for mobs, and then you'll have the final boss stage to worry about. So for these teams here, they are focused on speed. Now, the way that we're getting around the utility and the gimmicks of this boss fight with Makino, she has 2 turns of damage threshold. Luckily, TheLordShiro can provide us with the ability to get rid of that. Also, we can use him on a prior stage to get another turn of wave clear. We've also got Shinobu, who's a great addition to the team, allowing us to get multiple turns of end of turn damage, which gives us more turns of wave clear to get through the boss fights a lot easier. And then also Luffy. We're ideally running double Luffy for his super type. His super type allows us to just deal damage, which is great. So having multiple different ways to wave clear bosses is super good. And then on the final boss stage, we can use Zora to get rid of the utility and the gimmicks, and then use the Gem Double 6 to give us some matching slots and an orb boost, and that should be just enough to get through the Makino fight without any issues. Moving on now, we have Tashigi. So Tashigi boss fight, there's a lot of gimmicks that you have to worry about heading into this fight. Luckily, if you're using Buggy as your captain, you don't have to worry about anything. Buggy's special ability will enable you to get around every single debuff that you should need for this fight, on top of giving you an orb boost. So for this team, I'm going to be using Coliseum Kid, another non-boosted unit, to get around a couple of the stages, and just to get through it quickly, and it also gives cooldown to our Buggy as well if he needs it. Then we've also got Vista. Vista will enable us to get multiple turns of wave clear again. The mobs don't have that much health. They definitely have less than 100,000 HP. So with double special activation with Vista and the 2 turns of end of turn damage with Kid, we can get through the mob stages very quickly. And then for the final stage, having the Buggy special, and then also the support of Gecko Moria, which gives our driven characters a 1.5 color affinity, meaning double Buggy plus Big Mom will have enhanced damage output versus the Tashigi fight. If I do need to switch up the team, I can replace Kid with another unit. That's not going to be a problem. And then also Baby 5 is here just because she's a relatively high point booster. Moving on now to one of the more nuanced boss fights in this treasure map, we have Hina, who is a Dex boss, and there are a couple of different gimmicks that you have to take note of. First is the paralysis, which luckily Jack can get rid of, on top of giving us color affinity. I also do have Legend Queen attached to Jack to give our powerhouse characters an attack boost. Definitely not required though. We've got Rebecca for a conditional boost, which should help us out a little bit. We've also got the Luffy. The Luffy is going to be able to get rid of despair that's inflicted to us. He changes the badly matching slots we're given into matching, and he provides an orb boosting effect. So a really good addition to the team, despite the fact that Luffy is not boosted by Jack Captain effect. Shouldn't be a problem though, because we're relying on Kizuna Kid to wave clear the mob stages heading up to stage 5. And then remember that once you do kill Hina, she will revive with 50% of her HP, and she turns into a quick enemy. Luckily, Treasure Map Kaido is a great addition to the team. You can use his special on the revive to give himself a guaranteed Wano slot, and giving himself a 3 times attack and a 3 times orb boost, and that should be all you need to kill Hina on the revive. And then the last of the Battle Rush bosses is against Perona, who is a quick enemy, and because we are building speed and it is a quick enemy, Kaido is going to be our best friend, enabling us to get around all the mob stages without any issues, of course. But then once we reach the final boss stage, we'll have to deal with a couple of different things. Luckily, Rare Recruit Rockstar is another good unit here. He just continuously shows why he's one of the best units to have released in 2021. That unit enables us to get around block slots, gets rid of the attack down, and it removes the pesky 2-turn barrier that Perona applies to herself, meaning that you normally would need 2 strength slots to break through that barrier. But with Rockstar, not only does he get rid of the other gimmicks, he also removes that barrier for us, making it so much easier. We have King and Queen because they're relatively high point boosters, adding to the team, which, you know, kind of mitigates the fact that we are using Kaido as our captain a little bit. And then we've also got Ben Beckman, who is a chain locker. So the characters all work very well together. We don't have to use double Kaido. One Kaido is definitely enough, but having double Kaido means that we don't have to put as much effort in on the final boss fight for a pretty extended period of time. And now we can have a look at the final boss versus Stussy. So we are using Reiju as our captain, of course, lucky enough to pull her on her debut. Unfortunately, we did not pull Legend Vivi, but we're not using Legend Vivi, of course, we don't have her, but with this team, we are focusing around having the friend captain of Hina. Luckily, I should be able to have quite a few friend captains up, luckily for myself, of course. If you are lucky enough to have Hina as a friend captain, definitely build a team around that, but of course, it may be difficult to have multiple different teams, but luckily you'll be able to, you know, use the spare team slots to potentially build a team if you have a Hina friend captain, and then have another team just in case if you don't find Hina as your friend captain. Hina's great though because it removes a lot of the debuffs that you'll have to take care of in this boss stage, but of course having a Hina friend captain, Tashigi, and also Makino, we get around pretty much all of the debuffs that we'll have to worry about in this quest. But one of the other things that we do have to worry about is the fact that our captains will be special binded for 10 turns when we reach the final boss stage. And this is where Toki comes in. Toki will be able to target the characters on our team, specifically our captains, and ensure that they're not inflicted with that debuff. I mean, specifically, we would probably want to target Hina because Hina's going to be very useful for the final boss stage. And then we can target another one of our characters, probably Tashigi, just so we have a strength unit that has a lot of damage output against this really annoying Dex boss being Stussy. We also have Caesar Clown, which can provide the conditional boost on both stage 4 and stage 5 of this quest, enabling us to get that damage reduction that we would really like to have. And then of course Reiju is our captain because she can boost pretty much everyone on this team. She actually doesn't boost Toki, unfortunately, so that is a bit of a downside there, but Toki is such a powerful unit to use in this treasure map that she kind of has to be on the team in order for us to get around that really annoying special bind. You can run a different team using like V2 Marco, for example, but that does require us to get a lower point boost for our treasure map team, which I really don't want to run, so this is why we're running this team instead. And now we can have a look at the final boss fight versus Vivi. This is the Intrusion battle boss, which is going to be occurring as soon as you start the treasure map, of course. Luckily for us, we are using the exact same team, unit for unit, support for support. We are not making any changes to the team because, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, of course. Having access to all 3 treasure map rare recruits is going to be a huge asset to myself personally. I know many people out there will not have that luxury, but luckily, as I said, I do have a more budget-friendly teams over on my treasure map preparation video if you guys want to check that out. But essentially, same thing goes here. Having access to these treasure map rare recruits allows us to get around all of these debuffs that we would be, you know, facing, of course. We have Caesar Clown for multiple different stages of conditional boost, and then Toki once again for providing huge damage output to the characters that we want to target. So of course this final boss fight is going to be Sai, so we just target the int characters to give us the damage, ideally being both of the captains. And of course Reiju special enables us to remove all of those turns of paralysis that we would be inflicted with, so that's going to be a huge addition to the team. And that's pretty much it. Pretty straightforward in terms of building teams for myself personally this treasure map. Very blessed to have pulled relatively well on the treasure map Sugo Fest. But that is going to wrap up this video today. I know a lot of you guys out there always like to see my own personal teams, and as I have said at the start of the video, my teams may change as the treasure map progresses, depending on what I see from other players and what kind of works, what doesn't work. Some things may need to change, but currently as it stands, on paper, these teams do look pretty solid, and we'll see how things go. We may have to make some additional changes along the way, but I'm pretty happy with how things are going. But that is going to wrap up this video today. Thank you very much for watching the video, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and leave leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.